Hello, Year 4. It is Wednesday, the 27th of January, and this video is for the children who have the Year 4 comprehension booklet. Okay, now we're going to be looking at page 26, and it has the title Bletchley Park Code Breakers. Okay, now just a quick tip after looking at some of your work from Monday and Tuesday. You need to remember that you're writing your answers in full sentences, and I've chosen a superstar who I think deserves a shout out, and that is Dom. And Dom's tried really hard. He has listened to feedback that I sent him on Monday, and then he went away and answered one of the questions that he wasn't too sure about on Monday and sent it in to me on Tuesday. So I'd just like to say, well done, Dom. You tried your best. You did a great job. Please keep it up, okay? So your starter for today is to have a go at breaking this code to find out what the sentence is. So you've got a code key with different letters from the alphabet, and then you've got a short sentence that you need to break the code on, okay? So before we start today's lesson, I want you to have a go at breaking the code. Now, there is a theme. I wanted to see if you can break the code and see if you're a superstar, because the text that we're looking at today talks about code breaking in World War II. Okay, so I want you to have a go, pause the video, and then when you're ready, press play again, and then we'll figure out to see if you've got the code right or not, okay? So pause here, have a go, and then press play when you are ready. Okay, so if you have broken the code successfully, your sentence should say, well done for working out the code. So round of applause to all of you. Now, today's learning question is, can I use inference to answer questions about a text? So now that our brains are warmed up, we're going to visit some new vocabulary that we're going to come across in today's piece of writing. So have a look at the words, see if you can pronounce them before I tell you what they mean, and then I'll explain the meaning of those words, okay? So, cryptic, the first one. Cryptic means that it's a little bit puzzling, that you need to figure it out, okay? So cryptic is a puzzle that you've got to work out, okay? Disqualified. Disqualified means that you've been told that you've got to step back from taking part in something because of something that you've done. Okay, so you could say that the football team was disqualified for foul play. So that would mean that they weren't following the rules, so then they got told that they weren't able to participate with the activity anymore. Opponent is another word for someone that you're going against in a competition. So you could say that Port Vale is the opponent of Stoke City. So they go against each other to win in a competition or a football game. The next one is encoding. Now, encoding is where you have a sentence and then you put it into a code. So you have to put it so people can't figure out what it means. So you had to go at breaking a code, but I had to encode it first. So I had to change it into a code first to make sure that you weren't able to figure it out straight away. The next word is crucial. So the word crucial means to be vital or to have vital information. So it's really important information that you're looking at, and that you need to be able to pick it out because it's really important and it could help you with your knowledge. So for example, I might say, oh, this is really crucial that you know the rule of punctuation in a sentence because you will get assessed on it when you do your SATs. So I hope that that makes sense. If you're not quite sure about crucial, please have a go at looking it up yourself, because then you're building up your own skills on how to identify and learn about new vocabulary that we aren't familiar with. The next one is confidential. So the word confidential means that it's private or it needs to be kept a secret. And then the one that's behind my camera screen is operator. So operator is someone that will be in charge of doing something. So during World War II, there would have been telephone operators, and they would have been in charge of making sure that when you dialed a number through, that you were put through to the correct person. Okay? So now that we've looked at our new vocabulary, it is your turn to pause the video here, to read through the text and to have a look at a little bit of the information at the top of the text, so the bit in the little box above your actual text, and then to come back to this video and we'll go through the questions and the guided reading dog that we'll be using today to help us. Okay, so hopefully you've read through the text at least twice and you've got a good understanding of what the text is about. Our skill for today is inference. So we're going to use Inference Iggy. Now, Inference Iggy is a detective. He looks for clues in the text and he picks them out to support different ideas when he writes his answers. Okay, now I'm going to remind you again here because it's really important. You need to write in full sentences. Okay, so check that you're writing in full sentences when you're doing your comprehension work. Okay, so this is what the text is about. This building is part of Bletchley Park. Now, Bletchley Park is in Buckinghamshire, which is in England, and during World War II, people worked in Bletchley Park to break the German codes, and that allowed them to read secret German messages that they could then send to the correct people that were working in the army, so they knew what the Germans were plotting to do, so what they were planning to do next. Okay. Now, Bletchley Park is part of today's text, and this extract that we're looking at today discusses how the Daily Telegraph used a crossword to identify code breakers to work at Bletchley. Okay, so Bletchley was where all of our code breakers worked during World War II. So, our first question is asking you to work out the difference in the presentation on lines 1 to 4. Why do you think this is? So I'm going to slowly stop picking out these key words in the questions because I want you to have a go at doing this on your own. So I will carry on doing it for today, but in the future I'm going to stop picking out these keywords because I want you to have a go at identifying where the keywords are in the question and how they can help you to identify where you need to look in the text. Okay, so we've got another day of doing this together. So we've got today, and then I think tomorrow we'll start to slowly stop looking at how to pick them out because you should be able to do it on your own. So we're going to do it for today just so you get a good idea, and then tomorrow I'm going to try and get you to do it on your own, so we're going to be a little bit more independent. Okay, so I would look here for lines 1 to 4, so where the red box is. Now it's in a bold font. Okay, so the reason why it's different to the rest of the text is because it is in this bold font. Now the bold font is showing you the important information. Now, I'm not saying the rest of the text isn't important because it is, but this bit is telling us a brief summary about what the rest of the text is going to be about. It acts a little bit like a blurb on the back of a storybook. Okay, so it's telling us a brief little bit about a brief bit of information about what the rest of the text is about. Okay, so you know then as the reader whether you want to read on or not. Okay, so question 2, what was W.A.J. Gavin's idea? So I've picked out in the text where I can see W.A.J. Gavin. Okay, I'm just going to highlight it. So I can see there that's where his name has been mentioned. So I will be looking in that part of the text to find my answer because I'm looking for what his idea was. Okay, so I've very briefly written in a sentence that his idea was to donate £100 to charity for anyone who could complete the crosswords. And then it goes on to ask about why the War Office was interested in this competition. So for question 3, I've identified again where it uses the words War Office, and I've continued to read on because even though it mentions the War Office there, it doesn't quite tell me my answer. So I would have to read the rest of that paragraph to identify why the War Office was interested in the competition. And I've just written my answer there. So reading that and based on what we've already read about Bletchley Park and what I've just told you, this is why the War Office was interested in the crossword competition. Moving on to question 4, I'm going to stay in the same area because it's told me I need to look on line 30 at what the word confidential means. Now, we very briefly talked about what the word confidential means when we were revisiting new vocabulary at the start. Now, you can use a dictionary to help you, or if you want, you can go back to the start of the video to where we were talking about that vocabulary, and you can use what we talked about to help you write your definition. Now, why do you think this word, confidential, was written on the letter to Stanley Sedgwick? Now, I've explained what confidential already means. So why is it Stanley Sedgwick would want to write that word, would want to have had that word written on his letter? Okay, so it says here, the definition for confidential is that it's intended to be kept secret. So confidential information. Why was that written on Stanley Sedgwick's letter? Okay, so I've started the sentences off for you. I've given you some STEM sentences to help you because I know that some of you are still struggling a little bit on how to write your answers in full sentences. So the word confidential means, I think that this was written on the letter to Stanley Sedgwick because. Okay, and then you're just going to write your answers in there and you're going to take it from the text to help you. Question 5, according to the article, how are code breaking and solving crosswords similar? So again, I've identified where I can see the word crosswords and the word code breaking in my text. I've just highlighted them. And you're just going to read that section and you're going to write about the comparison of how they are similar. Okay, so you're going to have a look. You're going to use your inference skills to infer the similarity between crosswords and code breaking, and then you're going to write it down in a sentence. Okay, so code breaking and solving crosswords are similar because. Question 6, how did the Daily Telegraph's cryptic crossword help the Allies win the Second World War? Now, the word allies has been used as a generic term because allies are people that work with you. So the allies here are the people that were the code breakers. Okay, so now that you know that, have a go at answering that question. I have written an example of what you could write, but maybe you could write it differently. Okay. Question 7, this is an opinion question, so you don't need the text to support you on this one, but it's asking you, how do you think you would have felt if you had been asked to be a code breaker in the war after completing a newspaper crossword? Then you need to explain your answer. I would have felt blank because. So you'd write your emotion and how you felt, and then you would expand on that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now I know that some of you did struggle on this type of question, but we just want to see what you feel. Okay, so there is no right or wrong answer. Just give it a good go and try your best and make sure that you explain why. Okay, your challenge for today is to research Bletchley Park to find and write down 5 different facts about it. Okay, so there is a website, Bletchley Park is now a museum that you can go and visit, and there is a website all about Bletchley Park. So if you go onto the Bletchley Park website and find 5 different facts, write them down in your green book and send them in along with your comprehension work to the Year 4 email address that's on the screen now. If any of you have any questions, please feel free to email them in to us and we will try our best to get in touch and answer them. But on that note, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for your next comprehension lesson. Try your best and I can't wait to see your answers. Bye.